Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with the final episode of After the Buzzer for the NBA season. The Golden State Warriors are your NBA champions, defeating the Boston Celtics 4-2, 6 games in the series, on the road as well. And what was a super dominant performance for the most part. There was a little bit of time with the Celtics, they kept doing this thing where they would be down 15, they'd bring it to like 9 or 10, the Warriors would push back. It was a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately the Warriors won in pretty convincing fashion, going on a 21-0 run, the biggest in 50 years in the second quarter and the end of the first. It was an incredible performance. Great play from Steph Curry, 34, 7, and 7. Draymond Green with his best game of the playoffs, 22, 12, and 8. Dominant defensively. Andrew Wiggins, really this whole series had Jason Tatum in jail. 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He was incredible. Jordan Poole, 15 points in 18 minutes. Kevon Looney with 7 boards, 6, 3, and 2 from Gary Payton II. Iguodala played a minute. Game 6 Clay did not show up, but it did not matter. The Warriors winning their 4th ring in 8 years, 6 finals over the course of those 8 years as well. It's one of the most impressive runs of dominance we've ever seen. Complete and utterly a dynasty. And people act like this is kind of normal at this point. Like, of course, like the Golden State Warriors have been a force for so long now, but it's not normal for teams to win finals 7 years apart with the same core. And I really didn't even realize it was that long until I just thought about it. They won one in 2015 and 2022 with the same core group of 3 or 4 guys. It's incredible. It's unprecedented in this modern era. What they are doing, the way that they continue to dominate the game. Steph Curry winning his first finals MVP, something that should have happened when they won that first title, but we won't get into that now. People can finally stop making that argument and making that point about his career. There were no holes in Steph Curry's career. Sure, you can talk about the 3-1 lead or whatever, but when you look at Steph Curry's resume, there are very few players that really stack up to what he's done. 2-time MVP, 1-time unanimous, finals MVP, 4 rings over the course of 8 seasons, 6 finals appearances, Western Conference Finals MVP, scoring title. Steph Curry has done it all, the best shooter of all time. He revolutionized the game of basketball. You could put that on his resume. And really, he has a legitimate case to be the best point guard of all time. I'm not going to get into the argument about whether or not I think he is, but he's at least got a case. He's got a case to be top 10 all time. I don't really do all-time lists. I didn't watch a lot of those guys because I'm 22 years old, so I don't really get into that. But if you want to say that Steph Curry is top 10 all time, if you want to make that argument, I'm not going to fight you on it because I think there really is a case for what he's done. The way that he's changed the game, the way that he's been such a force for so long. And, the best player on a championship team 7 years apart is ridiculous. The longevity of the way that he's played, he's been that good for that long. They had a lot of adversity over the last 2 seasons with the injuries and Klay Thompson missing 2 straight seasons with an ACL and an Achilles tear. Steph Curry missing pretty much all of the 2019-2020 season. Draymond Green missing a lot of time. And then the next year, Steph trying to carry a team that honestly had no business being in the playoffs, trying to carry them to the NBA playoffs, falling just short in the play-in tournament. And when after the play-in game, they asked Steph Curry about next season, he said something along the lines of, teams aren't going to want to see us next year. And he called his shot because here they are standing on top, the final team remaining at the end of the 2022 season, and what was one of their most impressive, probably their most impressive run yet. The way that they went through a lot of tough teams. This wasn't one of those super dominant Warrior squads. It was a really good team, but this isn't like your 73-9 team or even the team before that, where they were just kind of dominating the league for the most part. This was a really hard fought. There were some injuries. Steph Curry went through that second half of the season slump. They had to kind of push through some things, but ultimately coming out on top at the end of the season. Winning this game in pretty convincing fashion. Like I said, it was a little bit of back and forth, but not all that much. Coming out on top in the NBA Finals, just all in all, a really impressive run. Bob Myers, the GM, continues to find a way to do it. I don't know how, if he finds a way to retain all of this talent, which honestly is the big next step for them. How do you keep Jordan Poole, who's going to ask for a lot of money, Gary Payton II, who showed his value, while you already have Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Wiggins on basically max contracts? How do you keep Kevon Looney, who is huge, or maybe you let him walk because you do have James Wiseman? And that's another question, is they could probably make this thing better because they've got Kuminga, they've got Moody, they've got Wiseman. If they wanted to make a trade, they could. Or they've got now these young pieces who, as Steph, Klay, Draymond get a little bit older and start to regress a bit, those three young guys could even just step in and continue this thing. This thing could go for a really long time. And that's the craziest thing. It's not like they're on their last legs and they barely managed to squeak out this finals win before riding off into the sunset. Steph's still incredible, one of the best players in the world. Draymond Green is still a force despite his bad play over the course of these finals. Klay Thompson, he was really inconsistent, but this was his first half season since 2 years off from basketball. They've got Jordan Poole, who's young. Andrew Wiggins is continuing to get better. He was an all-star for the first time this year. 3 great young players. This is a team that's going to continue to make these pushes for the finals. They're going to continue to be a force. And they could very well win a title in 2 more years and have won 2, 10 years apart with the same core. It's ridiculous the way that they've continued to keep this core together, the way that they have continued to ramp up their talent, find new pieces, insert guys here and there around Steph, Klay, and Draymond, and ultimately Iguodala, I guess, to make these championship teams. Bob Myers deserves a ton of credit. The Warriors front office is one of the best in the business, and they win championships. Steve Kerr getting a championship, a guy who got a lot of flack over the year, but unless you're at least a good coach, you don't win this many finals. It just doesn't happen. So shout out to him. Like I said, shout to the other guys on the roster as well. Super cool to see Wiggins, who was seen as a bust by a lot of people, win a championship. Jordan Poole, who was called one of the worst players in the league a couple years ago, who I thought should have won Most Improved Player, ultimately making a push to be the 6th man of a championship team. Just an incredible performance, an incredible feat from these guys. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors. A couple years ago, when they had KD, this probably would have made me mad, but not anymore. I really enjoy watching this Warriors team play, and they were the best team this season, just overall. Beyond them, the Boston Celtics. This is a team that I think could very well be back as soon as next year, if not for a couple of years. They've got Jason Tatum, who, given had a pretty poor finals, I think he's going to learn a lot from this. Really, just over the course of these finals, I think he realizes he needs to get a little bit better navigating double teams, just improving shot selection, getting to the rim. And I do think he was hurt a little bit. I'm not using that as an excuse. That is not why the Celtics lost or why the Warriors won or why he struggled solely. But since that Heat series, that shoulder seems to have been bothering him. I don't know if he's actually going to ever say it was, but I think it was. So he's got to get healthy in the offseason. But Tatum's going to be fine. He's a borderline top 10 player in this league. He's an incredible scorer, a great defensive player. He's going to be back. Jaylen Brown was really solid in these finals. If the Celtics had ended up winning, he would have been my pick for finals MVP. Just great offensively and defensively. The two of them really need to work on their turnovers. Just so many poor decisions by them, but also really the whole team over the course of these finals. And I do think some of that was inexperience, just kind of trying to force things too much, seeing the opportunity slip away, trying to make these really tough shots. I don't know if I've ever seen a team take this many heavily contested shots in an NBA Finals game. It felt like every shot they took was there was a heavy closeout, or like there were 3 people around them. And there were just a lot of times where Tatum or Brown would drive into traffic. Same with Marcus Smart. Al Horford even did it a couple of times. They've got to be better with those turnovers. And I think part of that is that inexperience that we've talked about a lot. Ultimately, the Warriors, like I said, have been here so many times. So for the Boston Celtics, it's only the first time. I think they very well could be back. They're young. They've got 2 of the brightest young stars in the league. They've got really solid role players as well. Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, just won Defensive Player of the Year. Robert Williams is electric. He's a guy that could win Defensive Player of the Year for years to come. Ime Udoka, just a first-year head coach, making it this far. And especially the way they turned it around halfway through the season. Celtics fans should be really proud of this squad, and the Celtics should be really proud of how they turned a season that looked completely lost into one that ultimately they were only just a couple games away from winning the whole thing. So huge season for the Celtics. I think they're going to be back. I think they just need some more experience, some more time to grow, more consistency, and probably a bit better bench play. Their bench really struggled in this game. They could use like a scoring six man. I think I also think they need maybe a little bit more of a ball handling point guard. It feels like at times they just need like a floor general to slow things down. So adding a guy like that could, I think, really help this team in those big time moments. But ultimately, I do think the Celtics will be back. So this is not the last time we'll see this Boston core in the finals. They're just too good to not be back at some point. So those are my thoughts on the NBA Finals. Once again, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. They were the best team this season. They deserve to win these finals. Shout Steph Curry for a Finals MVP. Shout out all the Warriors fans out there. I know a lot of y'all watch my videos, so appreciate y'all's support. Shout to Celtics fans and the Celtics as well. The season's a wrap. Now we've got the draft coming up, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to be live streaming my draft reactions. The Thunder, if you don't know, have both the 2nd and the 12th overall pick, and there are rumors they might trade up, so make sure to come check out that live stream. Also, I'm going to be going to the Summer League in Vegas. I'm going to be recording vlogs and stuff, so make sure to subscribe to not miss out on that stuff. Please leave a like if you did enjoy. This is my 2nd season doing these like nightly recaps and stuff like that. My 2nd full season making NBA content, and y'all have given me so much support. I cannot thank you enough for all that you have done for me in this channel over the course of these 2 years. We're going to keep growing, going to keep expanding, and big things are coming. Just because the NBA is off the grid for a little bit does not mean I'm going anywhere. Draft stuff, random reaction videos, quizzes, whatever y'all want to see, please let me know in the comment section below so I can continue to give y'all content while we go through this NBA drought. But for right now, that's all I've got for y'all. I appreciate such a great season. Please leave a like and subscribe. I will see y'all later. Real one.